Hello friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a best of 5 between the bottom left spawning as our blue Zerg player playing for Team DKZ. It is Dark, and in the top right as our red Protoss player also playing for Team DKZ, it's of course herO over here, coming right at you with some bangers from the KSL SummerSlam Round of 4. This is the first semi-final, which is going to be played here. As Dark opening up with his standard hatchery first, this time on his third base location, and herO just popping off here with a most likely going to be a Stargate build orders. That's been the most common thing that he's been doing. Gonna have to wait and see how well that's gonna go. This has been one hell of a tournament to watch. It's just the highest level of competition in Korea. It's really fun actually how many of these online cups in Korea are being played by a lot of the top guys as well. I feel like back in the day, as in even just like maybe like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, it felt like whenever you had these higher stakes tournaments in Korea, players like Dark or Maru or herO perhaps wouldn't quite participate. Like there's some Koreans that always play everything, like Beyond literally, you know, Beyond would show up for a $25 tournament, play 5 hours, first prize $17.50, second prize like $6 or something. It's like he'd play those every single day of the week, but some of these other guys only would show up for the big bucks. Nowadays it feels like yeah, they're just a lot more keen to play absolutely everything, and it's been fun to watch, just getting a lot of high level StarCraft too. Of course, KSL SummerSlam is quite a big event with $4,500 total on the line. Can't quite recall what first place is, but I bet it's going to be something like 2k or 2.5 grand, which is not bad of course for well, a day and a half or 2 days of work for these bad boys. All right, interesting wall here, as this is what we call a straight line wall, and that means that you can't wall with a 2x2 structure behind this, because there's no, usually you kind of build these buildings in a way, so you build this one block down, so it's easy to wall with a pylon, but now it requires a 3x3 building, which is going to be hard and is a bit more expensive often, so I'm not a huge fan of how that looks. Phoenix will be the first unit coming out of herO here. Also not quite what I had expected. Actually, not at all what I had expected here. That is a big surprise for me, yeah. That definitely is a big surprise. You do see this Phoenix flying towards the Overlord. Second gateway on the way. There's an Oracle's gonna pop out after this. Overlords will need to be sent back home. It's the Tasty Lope is just chilling over here. You have a Tasty Lope from Tasteless, and an Artosi Lope is also running around, I think somewhere over here. It's green. Both of them run very fast. They're afraid of social interaction with anyone else. So if you get too close, they'll start running at a high pace. It's hard to kill them. It's one of the hardest critters to kill in the entire game, actually. Here goes the Phoenix. Looking for something. Maybe another kill. Maybe she's gonna run in towards the main, get a lift on one of these queens, and then take it from there. Forge Twilight behind this. Just a single Oracle, by the way. So single Phoenix, single Oracle. Forge Twilight Robotics Facility. Very odd opening here. Is this natural perhaps in a bit of danger? No. Okay, this is absolutely nothing. This is very little impact on the early game economics of Dark. Dark also opening up with an Evo chamber, but in a kind of hidden manner. Usually it gets built in the wall here, but not today. We have 4 Overlords on the way at the same time. Big error coming out of Dark for sure, as 2 creep tumors will get sniped. It's not the end of the world. There's still 1 active creep tumor. It's now gonna push forward, and a new active creep tumor gets laid down. Dark indeed laying down the law. Fourth base on the way, staking that off of just a single gas with that Evo chamber, now starting to research his +1 melee. We're gonna have to wait and see exactly how it's gonna play it out from here. A couple extra gases. Well, herO is well, seemingly going for a bit of a charge lock attack. Has 2-2 in gas in his natural, 3-3 in gas in the main. Starting to feel like this is just a straight up gate charge attack. There is going to be a Baneling Nest behind this, which went down at 5 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. The question that I kind of have is, how great is this I think this actually feels very good here for Dark. Because +1 is going to finish at about the same time for Dark as it will for herO. There's going to be a crap ton of links. There will be banelings available. There's still no extra gases. So Dark is looking at this and thinking to himself, well, this can really only be one thing. And most likely it's going to be aggression. It has to be aggression. We see a roach worm being thrown down as a result. As there's 8 gates out. +1, 30 seconds away from finishing. Here we go. 11 Banes starting instantly on the other side of the map though. Exactly what I had not expected. Charge lots are moving forward. Well, this is kind of awkward here. Banelings are starting to run back home. I almost feel like Dark can just fight this with pure Link Queen at this point. Oracle's gonna get taken out. Zealot's in a bit of trouble as well. Yeah, this is not great here for herO as these banelings are now running in. We'll get a couple of kills as they start taking out probes at 7, make that 12. We're gonna finish up with 15 probe kills here in game number 1 on Ancient Cistern. Yes, Dark doesn't have a whole lot of probes himself either, or sorry, drones himself, but I don't think that actually matters if your opponent only has 43. Banelings not quite getting the connections here. The link count perhaps not quite large enough. 6 queens remaining. Zealots now starting to connect with some of these drones. I think there's a Templar Archives on the way behind this. There should be, because there's a lot of gas in the bank. Enough for, well, pretty much 4 Archons at this point. Zealots, good split. Not gonna get connected to by these Banes. The Zealots in the main base are still going pretty ham as they start hitting some queens left, right, and center. Queen over here is gonna get taken out as well. And these Zealots are just having a blast all together. Some of these links do end up dying. Pop, 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 pop. There we go. Prism's gonna piss off. 11 drones have been taken out. We now have the Templar Archives. Another 8 Zealot warping coming out of herO here. Let's see how viable this plan is going to be. So far, I think the answer is not very viable at all. It's going to be a minor pickup. These queens are looking to kill stuff. Roach is now out, wanting to help against these Zealots. Don't forget, it's still only going to be 4 gases. Some minor undersaturation in the natural, some oversaturation in the main. Completely pulled out of gas in the main as well, by the way. This now has constructed those 4 Archons I was talking about earlier. We have 8 more drones on the way. Are these roaches going to be good enough? Banelings will be very helpful against the Zealot count. Without roach speed, the roaches actually do kind of suck. Banelings rolling into Archons rather than into Zealots. That is a bit of a blunder there out of Dark, as he's now trying to stutter step back those roaches. Queens want to tank here. Queens are tanking, and for now staying alive. This fort base is toast. It's gone. It's adios. Out of this world. Poof. Into the next. And I think herO is aware. Yeah, he has freaking 3 observers or 2 observers just kind of idling. He knows there's no other base. So really all that herO needs to do right now is survive. He needs to take his extra gases and simply not die. He's gonna take out some of this creep, which I think is a good call. But attacking into this I think would be a huge blunder. Attacking either into a Robo Bay or into Storm I think would be quite smart. I'm loving these Immortals that are being chronoed out as well. I think that is genuinely a very good call. These double Archons are now dropping down. And now picking up. And now dropping down and now picking up. 2 Immortals out on the map. 3rd one about to join up as well. Poof, poof, poof. There we go. Lots of kills on those creep tumors. It's just going to be a pure roach army, which makes some sense. I don't really think you can play low eco banelings. It seems like a fairly bad plan. 5 more Overlords are on the way. I think you'll need to go for Ravagers. And yeah, I'm loving this transition into the 2nd Robo, into that Robo Bay. I think this is the correct call. Disruptors are fantastic. Immortals are fantastic. I don't think Splash is super necessary as in Storm or Archons. These units, like, they're nice to have. But I think the Disruptor is going to be good enough, especially if there's so little creep, right? So little creep. That means that Purification Nova are going to be having a much easier time connecting with the opponent. So now there's 12 Banes being morphed. +1 range is what, 75% done? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed. That's a massive run by down here, huh? How many zealots is that? It's like, what, 14? I'm so bad at counting. Okay, it's more like 12. 12 zealots moving down there right now. We have a decent... No, we have a fantastic Archon count, the Colossus. This is a unit I didn't quite expect. I'm not sure what to think of that. I feel like Disruptors would be a way... I don't want to say more intelligent call, but in my mind a more consistent call. Zealot's gonna get busted here by this Ling Bane army. It's a lot of Archons, which is nice. Fort base almost done, 70 workers to 62. Dark is taking a bit of a supply lead. Has so many roaches, which explains the supply lead, because roaches are very cheap and provide 2 supply. It's kind of, yeah, it's not great. Okay, here we go. Archon's gonna get picked up. Super Battery gets taken out. Where's the Immortals? There's 1 Immortal now showing up. 2nd Immortal, 3rd and 4th still at the 3rd base. herO is just going to hold this relatively easily as the Colossus starts showing up. And this is just pure roach against an army that eats roaches for breakfast. Honestly, this army eats pretty much everything right now that Dark can build for breakfast. There's like no zealots in this army at all. It is all important high-value units. 2 of these Archons are going to get taken out. Very sloppy play, but here comes the Purification Nova. Only going to get 1 of these Ravagers. Okay. herO still needs to be somewhat careful. Like he's in a good spot. He's getting his 8 gases. He has a lot of these high-value units, but losing these 2 Archons was a bit sloppy. His opponent is now running in with these Banes. There's really nothing to kill this. So we are going to see them kind of pushed back. Probes, that is... Oh! Well, it's going to lose a bunch of them. As another Baneling is going to run in. 17 workers going down all of a sudden. Dark doing a fantastic job here, taking out his opponent. And now all that Dark really needs to do is not die. This is not a game that he was supposed to win. Very sloppy play out of herO. I'm not saying that Dark is winning. I'm saying all of a sudden there's an opportunity for him to win, which wasn't really there before. Gonna see a couple of these Biles trying to hit this army. I still think that herO has an absolutely massive army. And it's an army that can fight this. Just needs to somehow find a way to get across the map. There's not a single Baneling, and we have 18 Zealots right now versus 0 Banes. That is going to be an issue here for Dark, as another Ling run by is being set up. Dark's going to be using those Ravagers to try and kite his opponent. Drones being taken out. Here comes a Purification Nova. Wants to snipe it. Instead needs to kind of dodge it. A couple more of these Biles hitting right now. 13, 14 probes are falling, as this is a full wall, but not for that much longer. We have a bunch more roaches on the way, I can only imagine, as I saw the supply go up once more here for Dark. It's 110 army supply against 104. We have these Biles hitting, and at the same time, the Zealots are being kited to death as well. Slowly but surely, Dark pulling a little bit ahead in this army supply. +2 has now finished as well. There's 1 more Archon with literally 1 HP. Now 14 shields. Drones trying to connect with it. Not quite getting there. Prism almost gets taken out, but not quite. Army supply heavily leaning in favor of Dark right now. By about 10, 12 supply. Burrow is on the way. These Lings have entered this base. As neither player really mining anything whatsoever. It's like 800 minerals here for Dark, as these Immortals in some trouble. 1 gets picked up, 2 get picked up. Do we get the juggling? There was some juggling. These Archons now in a rough spot as well. 1 extra Immortal does end up getting taken out. 21 army supply against 58. Dark with some absolutely phenomenal micro. Somehow, some way managed to stabilize here herO with an absolutely massive throw at the same time. It means that Dark is going to take game number 1 here on Ancient Cistern. I bet that game felt very frustrating there for herO, as he was just in a very good spot for an extremely long time and kind of ruins it for himself there in the end. Pretty poor initial move out, forced into a recall while losing a lot of workers, and then that last fight, I don't know, it feels like he's just not really complete with his entire army and just kind of running around. Well, there's 2 Archons chasing this, there's some Zealots hitting drones, I feel like the focus there wasn't quite on making sure that last fight is correct, and it sucks. Another thing, of course, that we need to keep in mind is that very often in the early game, Protoss players open up with multiple oracles. herO only had a single oracle, which he lost relatively quickly with that initial Zealot +1 attack. So it becomes a lot harder to kind of have solid map vision, to kind of keep map control. And also don't forget, oracles are a great tool against Ling run-bys. And but really, like the Banelings dealt damage, don't get me wrong, but it was the Ling run-bys that ended up getting in, and the Ling run-bys that end up killing a lot of workers there. Just not having any stasis wards, not having any help there to deal with those things definitely was a little bit frustrating for herO in my mind. As now we're... well, what are we looking at now, right now? Just a standard build order once more. Block on the natural. You have a second... Oh, wait, what was this? Oh, never mind. This is not standard at all. This is a core before Nexus. Okay. So core before Nexus. Second gas is going to be delayed. One less worker than you usually get as well. Well, it could mean that it's not going to be Stargate. It could still be Stargate as well. You see that fast warp gate, so less likely to be Stargate in that case. Really, really late if you play this particular opener. And then still get a warp gate as well. I think herO here is planning on blocking this base. Because he's hiding this probe. These Lings are going to need to scout that. I think they will. Yep, finds it. And this Adept is now moving out. Yep, there goes the first pylon. It starts immediately. There are 4 of these Zerglings out. 2 of them actually running around. 2 more in production. This pylon does not need to end up finishing for this base to be blocked. That drone is toast. No, it's not. It should have been toast in my mind. 6 more Lings on the way. This is almost starting to feel like a little bit of an all-in attack. A little bit of a Ling flood here that Dark wants to go for. And that made it into the main base as the Queen was walking down towards the natural. 2 Lings have died already. Number 3 also goes down. Number 4 about to fall too. It's going to be a cancel there on that Shade. Nice little start here for herO, who still ended up going with that Stargate. So I was incorrect about that. Adept is dead. Dealt some good damage though. And oh my god, Dark completely forgetting an Overlord. Look at this supply block. This is a spicy, spicy supply block. 37 out of 36. 2 Overlords start at the same time. There are 4 larvae available right now, and the cache is there too. So this is just painful all around, really, for Dark. Just losing a lot of money here. Extremely inefficient play coming out of Dark. As herO pulls ahead in this game as well, similar to what he did in that last game. Last game got very far ahead. Of course, not as early into the game, but still. Gotta keep in mind that a lead for herO doesn't necessarily always translate into a win at the end of the day. 4 more drones are coming in. Here goes the Oracle. It's not going to be capable of doing very much. Attack on the creep tumor. And here goes the Oracle towards the natural base. That's on the 3rd base location. Only gets a single drone. Evo chamber once more, 4:30 into the game. A little bit later than last time. Last time the +1 started at 4:30, so Evo was significantly quicker. Of course, this early game was a lot more chaotic here for Dark. Was it 30 seconds more chaotic for Dark? Yeah, perhaps it was. Perhaps this early game was that bad. It is very, very possible. Forged Twilight coming out, as well as a 3rd Oracle right now on the way. Extra gateways being added in. This feels to me like we're kind of heading in... Oh my god, there was some sweet control there. Poof, poof, poof. 3 little snipes on that Oracle. That was just beautiful. That was actually very nice to watch. Such beautiful Oracle control. Actually good Oracle control. God. I love watching herO play. I really do. So we're gonna have Blink +1 on the way here. Gateway 3 and 4 as well coming out. And here we go. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when these oracles come for you? I think you're gonna have to move some queens around. That's what you need to do. Pretty calm game, as for now it's just going to be 4-gate. We have seen herO play a lot of kind of like 6, 7, 8, 9-gate Blink and +1 attacks. But this time is going to be a much quicker Templar Archives. Look at that. Much, much quicker there with that Templar Archives. Shades away. with these adepts. Misses his revelation. Will take out this base though, so that is something as well. Leaves his adepts around. There are 17 links out, but not with +1 quite yet. Really nothing at home to defend. There's a couple of stalkers now get warped. 5 more gates coming in as well. As a macro hatch gets created in the main. Boom! A couple more workers being sniped. herO as always with some phenomenal Oracle movement. And I'm loving this follow-up. Perhaps a bit high on the gateways. He already has 4. He's adding 6. Now, I never went to university, but I do believe that that is going to be 10 gateways. Stasis Ward's going to connect with a bunch of those links. I still believe that these links will be capable of escaping later on, as at the same time we have herO moving in. What a beautiful move here, realizing, hey, if you're run buying my base, that means there shouldn't be too much at home. And indeed, that is the case. There's not that much at home at all, as these 3 adepts are still coming in. Gonna take out quite a few workers, and Dark already was low in worker count, only 69 right now. All 3 oracles still alive as well. It's gonna make an attack real difficult. We have a second Evo chamber, we have a Hydra Den. Most likely we're gonna see that Lurker. Yep, Lurker Den being thrown down as well over here. Makes a lot of sense here. It really does make a lot of sense to me. Fort base, fairly late here. Fairly late. Not a huge fan of that. Felt like so far Dark hasn't really been capable of stopping anything. Like, there's plenty of units. This is just going to be a straight up storm rush. Like no other shenanigans here at all. Storm and that's it. This is pure Ling, which should not be... Well, actually will be capable of getting the... No? Wow. I thought if you just right click that it should be fine. I guess he didn't want to risk it against triple Oracle. Do have 1 Oracle now being morphed in. Almost feels like it's time for herO to move out soon. I mean, there's really nothing that can fight his army. The storm is going to be freaking huge, even against Hydras. Like, you're gonna need some type of Banelings, and there is no Bane nest at all. So that means that Dark is playing this extremely greedy, saying, hey, I'm just going to rush straight into those lurkers. If you attack me before, well, I think he just would have died. If you attack with any amount of storms, like no matter how many links there are, Storm just owns that. Now we have lurkers being morphed in. We have that seismic spines. We have the grooved spines as well coming out here, which is going to increase the Hydra attack range by 1, of course. That's +2 melee also about to finish up. Would love to see Adrenal Gland. So just pure Ling Lurker Hydra. This is one of those compositions you don't see every single day. You actually never really see it. Second Forge is also pumping out stuff. We have 2 more robotics facilities coming out. Or well, the first 2 robotics facilities. I made it sound like there already was a robotics facility. And honestly, I kind of believe there already was a robotics facility, but it wasn't quite the case. No. It wasn't. It was not. And now we have a Baning Nest as well as a Nidus network. I feel like this style is not that good. But I also truly believe that I would lose to it. And I also believe that herO is gonna lose to it. So maybe the style is pretty good. It feels like it shouldn't work. You know, it feels incorrect. It's like some of these magic tricks where you're just looking at it, it's like, that ain't real. Like you know it's a trick. And you know that given enough time, you know, figuring out where the sleight of hand is, or where the deceit comes in, you'll be able to, that's how you deal with it, you know? And it's the same with this. It's like, well, this shouldn't really work in my mind, but you play against it so little that it usually does end up working. Here comes an attack towards the fort base. And it is going to be set up here. Lurker on the top, not doing very much. These cannons are being taken out. Link still going ham as well. Super battery not being targeted down is a huge blunder by Dark. It meant that this Archon stayed alive for a longer time than it really should have. Where are the Stormers? Have they just simply died? There's no Stormers available anymore, as Dark just kind of walked in here, and it feels like he's just picking up a victory. At least that's what it feels like to me. Adrenal Gland's now finishing up. That means that these links are going to be even more broken than they usually are. There is no super battery available for another, well, 30 seconds or so. Blinks back, 2 or 3 of his stalkers. Disruptors moving in. Can they be useful at all here? They'll get the double Hydra kill, but the problem seems to be the links here. 92 workers against 74. It is 6 base against 4 base. Links just being rallied across the map here. There's plenty of larvae available. And every single gas unit has been removed out of the army of herO. He hardly has any gas in his composition here. It's just 1300 gas. Actually, that's not that bad. I'm surprised how high that gas count is all of a sudden. I really am kind of surprised. I guess being on 8 gas is kind of nice. At the same time, Dark is just continuing to build more and more stuff. It's now morphing in a couple of Banes as well, most likely going in for a run-by, as Centrifugal Hooks is about to finish up in, 20-25 seconds. Does, of course, have something very important on those Banes, which is the +2 attack. Here come the Baney boys. Not quite going to be capable of hitting... What is it? Just warping Zealots? That is actually a little bit off. Does not hit any of those probes. Zealot count is way too high. Needs to get rid of those in a run-by somehow. Because in this main army should not be useful at all. Like, against any amount of Banelings. Zealots freaking suck. And we're gonna most likely see that. Here come a couple of Purification Novas. Not quite going to connect. Not in the way that I think herO would have wanted. The final one also not quite going to connect. Oh, it wasn't the final one. That one does get a decent hit. That's like maybe 10. Yep, 10 links indeed. This next Purification of us now coming out. What do we have over here? Another Baneling run-by is going to take out a lot of these workers. 192 supply to 108. And once more, herO in an absolute world of trouble. After, once more, a pretty darn decent start. Dark just kind of takes it back. Like, once stuff starts happening, he's like, yes, I'm bad in the stable, in the consistent situations where I can't do anything, where I'm the one that's defending. Dark's defense isn't very good if you compare it to some of the other top Zergs. But when Dark has any type of momentum behind him, once he starts rotating, sending Banelings in, just playing generally intelligent StarCraft 2, I think he is the best Zerg in the world. He is absolutely great at this, making something beautiful out of a technically pretty bad situation. Hydra control is good. Lurkers dealing some damage still. It's just going to pick up and leave as this fort base is now toast. Is herO going to try and attack? I think he's going to try to. And trying is all that he will be capable of doing. As another run-by comes in, there's a lot of links being constructed at home. There's a bunch of Hydras that are still out. I think the moment more than 2 Lurkers hit the field, this army should never be capable of pushing through. Even without Lurkers, honestly, this army should never be capable of pushing through. We still have this attacking force. GG gets called, herO leaves the game, and that puts Dark on match point after just 2 games only. Game 3 will be played over here on L'Altitude. Beautiful map. It's a snowy atmosphere. Snow, water. It's weird that this water hasn't frozen, no? That seems inaccurate. I'm not a weatherman, but these snowflakes seem pretty freaking thick. And this water is very shallow, right? I can see, like, this plant is coming above the water. This plant seems very small. Would it make sense that this little water it should be frozen? There should be ice. I think it should be water. Makes no sense to me. Here it's a little bit deeper, less shallow. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Lore inaccurate. Or maybe there's different, like, water freezes at a different temperature on this planet. It's also possible, of course. I mean, this is so shallow. It makes sense. You also see snow underneath. No? Super white underneath. That makes no sense. Maybe I'm just wrong. It's hard to say. Especially because this seems like ice, right? This is not rocks. So there's ice all around, but water here hasn't frozen. Yeah, whatever. Makes no sense to me. Gonna have a look to see what herO is gonna be doing this time around. As it's very funny. Sometimes when you think back of games, you're like, okay, what went wrong? And often you can kind of lead back the origins of you losing to the early game. But that's not the case at all here for herO. herO has been performing well in the early game. And all of his losses come from, well, they stem from different areas, really. So you can't really change too much in the early game. Well, you can change a lot in the early game, but it feels kind of useless. It's just... because his early games have been good. They've been fine. They've been okay. It's just the rest that has been lacking. This time Dark. I feel like should probably go for another +1 melee opener. This is a perfect map for it. It's really difficult for Protoss to expand past 4 bases. It's difficult for Protoss to already get a 4th base up off, and it's a wide open map, which means that links are going to be quite useful, quite powerful, as this watchtower is going to be touched by the probe. Quick little touch there. Now it will start heading back home. Perhaps just checking if there is any Ling run-bys coming out. Adept's gonna stay close to the house as well. And Dark is it's not doing anything. Really not doing anything whatsoever. First Stargate unit now on the way. It's going to be an Oracle. We've seen a Phoenix opener, we've seen Oracle openers. Both times he ended up being ahead, so both are allowed in my opinion. This time no massive supply block coming out of Dark, so that's also good for him. Oof, nice. Double tumor snipes. That's a huge move there with that Adept. Stark's going to be quite upset by all of that. Finishing his metabolic boost. Only has 6 links, can't really properly chase that Adept. This Oracle now is it's moving out. See what it's going to be capable of doing. There's so much vision here for Dark. It seems hard to believe this Oracle would do any damage, but Queens still find themselves somewhat out of position. Some miscontrol out of herO. Gets 3 worker kills though. I think that could have been 4 had he not messed it up a little bit. Poor defense out of Dark. As mentioned before, Dark, one of those players that just doesn't seem to really shine in the early defensive stage of this game. Much, much better when he's the one in control. So here comes the Evo Chamber once more. We'll see +1 start in solid 25 seconds from now. Twilight Council also starts here. Forge on the way as the second Oracle is out and the third one has started too. It's actually nearing completion already. Almost feels like we're gonna see a fourth one. Don't quite have the resources for it perhaps, as 2 more Adepts do end up getting warped in. Adept now idling at this watchtower. Third Oracle should show up with this main army soon. This is starting to feel a whole lot like the more old school style that herO liked to play. Going into like 7, 8 gateways, blink, +1. He starts adding those gates. There's a battery going up as well, and his third. Double Adept finishes up. He's going to get 2 worker kills here. 3 worker kills. Here come the Oracles. We'll take out 1 queen. Might take a second queen down. Oracle will fall as a result, so 2 queens for an Oracle. But a couple of drones might end up dying too. At the same time, a single Adept here going absolutely ham. 10 kills on this Adept already. And he's continuing dealing damage. Dark not paying attention whatsoever. And this should have dealt way less damage. But this one Adept did so much there. So much work here for a herO. 15 workers killed, 3 Adepts lost, as well as an Oracle. Actually 18 workers total, of course. We also count those initial 3 from that first Oracle. So this is fantastic. We have a new Oracle in production as well. There's more gateways now being added in. At least 1 more gateway is being added in. So that's going to bring the total up to 4. More Oracles still in production? Really? It's going to go up to 4 Oracles total after losing 1. So he has produced 5 Oracles then. That is a lot of resources into Oracles. There's only 5 queens out on the map. None are being rebuilt. 4 gateways being produced. It's going to go up to 7 gateways. These Adepts now occupying the watchtower. And these Oracles taking out a couple more drones. 3 drones for free. There's no links here in position. These Adepts will and should finish up. Good control though out of Dark. Nice blocks. That was really well done there out of Dark. As a result, it's not going to lose anything extra against these Adepts. Just force him to use a bit of his APM though. These Oracles trying to hold his watchtower. That is not quite working out yet. Stalker's now moving towards the middle of the map. There is another Oracle in production. So that's going to be 5 Oracles. 6 Oracles produced total. Is there a pylon here anywhere? No, there's not. We're gonna see a 4th base most likely over here. Because hero's floating an absolute crap ton of money. Spire for Dark. That is what we call interesting. This is not a Spire game at all. This really does not feel like a Spire game. This feels like maybe a Lingbane Hydra type of game. This many Oracles? Yeah, for sure. Lingbane Hydra sounds good. But this base is now toast. These Brooklings will try to do something. Might actually take out a Stalker or two here. Could, of course, blink into his own stasis ward. Yep, there we go. Should be safe as a result. These Lings do end up dying. I mean, this Spire play is absolutely insane. This is really crazy. If you can sneak out like 8-9 Muras and kill 15 to 20 workers, maybe it's worth it, but this is a massive all-in play. A massive all-in play, I tell you. And I don't really see a way for Dark to ever move out with that. Right now he has a tiny little army too. So it's like, well, good luck. There's 6 Zealots in this army. Run by should be happening towards this side. It ain't quite yet. There's just not enough units at home. 13 Muras in production. Queens now being taken out one by one. 1 Oracle. 2 Oracles go down. As all Queens have now officially died. There's literally nothing that can shoot up. These Muras will try and help. But I also don't think they are going to be enough. More units making their way across the map. As herO is ready to pick up a victory here. It's gonna get pushed back perhaps one more time. Even if he does end up losing every single Stalker here, I think the trade is going to be good enough. Well, actually, that was a pretty poor trade. Never mind, scratch that. Okay, we have a Phoenix on the way. We have a second Stargate. This actually is pretty scary. I thought that Dark wouldn't be capable of just straight up destroying this army. Muta pretty powerful, I guess. We have some Stalkers in production. There's nothing in the wall right now. Means that these Lings can just move in. No biggie. There's what? 5, 6 Stalkers? 5 Stalkers, 5 Zealots, and a Phoenix. And that's about it. herO now once again finds himself in an awful position. After a phenomenal early start of the mid game. Now he's probably pretty afraid of his life. Big Zealot warping in the natural. That's huge. Because that means that these Lings can just move in. Battery finishing up is also going to be a big thing. Super Battery gets activated instantly. 5 workers have gone down so far. As the Lings find some more damage here in the main base. It's going to be, what, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my god, all of these workers going down. It's such a high pace. Phoenix is for now staying alive, but even that isn't going to last for much, much longer. I can't imagine it, at least. +2 now finishing up on those Stalker weapons. Ooh, Dark needs to be careful, though. Can't stay around for too long. He's gonna lose maybe 1, 2 more Mutas. 17 workers have gone down. herO on 4 base versus the 3 bases of Dark, who is building that extra hatchery. 2 more drones as well on the way. We have +1 on the Mutas. Muta count continuing to grow up to 16, 17. I actually think that herO is probably winning. It's probably somewhat ahead. There's, like, if there was a Baneling nest with Baneling speed, then I would say maybe, because these Zealots will be a lot less useful. You have the ability to clear probes, but without Baneling speed, I'm not entirely sure. I think Baneling speed is going to be a true game changer once that gets researched. I think that's probably the most important thing to research at this moment. And in general, just getting Banelings out is going to be massive. This is a pure gateway unit army. Look how many Zealots there are in there. There's also 800 gas already in the bank for Dark, yet he's building extra gases. It's a little bit confusing as to what Dark is doing. Not entirely sure what it actually is that he's doing. Hasn't been building Mutas in quite a while. Now adds in 6 more. I mean, he's just gonna need some Banes. Like, it's obvious to me. It should be obvious to him. Ling run by does get in. There's hardly any Lings, only 18. He's been focusing very hard on producing drones here. He's gonna bite him in the bum. He just taps out. He says, hey, I can't actually hold this. He had no units. And herO did have a lot of units. So GG gets called there. And herO takes his first map. Despite that win, I'm still pretty disappointed by herO's performance there. Like, it really does feel like he's just throwing away good leads almost every single day of the week. Like, literally every single game so far he's had a good lead, and then he tried to kind of, you know, boot it out of the window. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Oh, no. That's a banging strategy, if you ask me. That is a banging strategy. He's gonna build a pool now. Oh my god. herO's never gonna scout this, is he? He's never gonna scout this. Because he never scouts this stuff in general. Oh, good lord. That is so frustrating. It really is. What's this drone doing? It's gonna move across. Another drone moves across. And another drone moves across. Triple spine rush over here. Dark, you nasty, nasty man. Good lord. That is actual pain here. If you're herO, you can realize, because there's very little mining going on right now in this main base. There's 3 workers just missing. Well, at this point, 2 workers missing. Queen doesn't start instantly in the main either. And you see 3 larvae. It's like, hey, what's kicking off here? And now, of course, he's very well aware as to what is kicking off. Now, what is going to be the response over here? How is herO going to take care of this? How is he going to, as we say in Dutch, wash this little pig? How is he gonna fix it? This massive issue. I have no clue how he's gonna fix this issue. His plan is to full wall, perhaps. I mean, it can't really be batteries anymore on the low ground. This is fake. This really just is fake news, and you can't semi-defend. You know, you either hold or you don't hold. This is not a thing. He's adding in another sentry right now. It's going to be immortals, of course. The thing for Dark here to realize is that there's hardly any batteries being constructed. I'd almost say, if you're Dark at this point, just be like, hey, maybe just throw down a hatchery behind this. You know, like, this Nexus is obviously gonna die. You've seen the robotics facility. Do you really want to try killing, or do you just go into a hatch right now, play a macro game while you're containing your opponent for a little bit? I think that is definitely the superior play. Like, you can even send this queen back home. Yep, there we go. Hatchery gets thrown down. We're not going to see any more lings in production, or at least I don't think there should be any more lings in production. We have plenty of them. 15. And now drone production starts. We're going to get an inject, and queen should probably start on the big road back home. Creep tumor still being spread out as well. I mean, this Nexus is just dead. herO's going to follow this up with probably a 2 or 3 gate immortal push, which is not going to be capable of doing very much, as he'll first need to clear these spines. More drones in production, queen on the way in the main base. We have some long distance mining for whatever reason that is. It's actually better to oversaturate your main base rather than long distance mining, but I'm not going to be the one to tell Dark. He's already scary enough without these efficiencies added in. Second immortal now pops as well, but this Nexus has died. That means that, well, actually, herO's playing this very risky. One quick links around, you might just end up losing some of these, immortals. That is kind of scary. More drones on the way, going up to 32, not 42. That would be a very high number. And I think you don't actually want to get much more than maybe 36, perhaps 39 drones if you're really feeling it. We see these spines moving back home as well. And that's obviously going to give quite a boost to the defense. Queen's in production. This queen has managed to, you know, make his way back home. You can't expand behind this herO. It's not possible, right? Am I crazy? No, I'm not crazy. It's going to be 34 drones. So that's almost full mineral saturation. Wait, no, that is full mineral saturation, isn't it? If you're not mining gas. I can't count. Yeah, I can't count. Well, happens to the best. It's mining some gas, though. Perhaps wants to add in either a baneling nest or a roach warren. I'd say maybe a roach warren if you do want to add something. It might not even be necessary, though. You just get like 5, 6, 7, 8 queens. You have your 3 spines already. Look at his income that is going to be popping out right now. These links are still on the map. In order to move out, you're going to need a wall. This is why I said, hey, I don't think it is viable at this moment to really just go into this type of heavy push. Because, yeah, you see that herO is trying to move out, and the moment he moves out, his natural is going to be under heavy siege. And yes, there is a wall, but is this wall strong enough? I'm not so sure. Uh-oh. herO's going to have to run back home right now, as these 2 sentries are going to get surrounded. And one will almost fall. This actually was an okay bait if it was intended as a bait. If it wasn't intended as a bait, then, well, he got lucky. Roach warren now up. 3 gases are active as well. We have a herO on the way as the first 3 roaches start too. Spine slowly moving forward. Good defensive setup. with a third base done. Would love to see a lair here coming out of Dark. I think getting road speed is kind of vital for him. I think getting a lair in general is kind of vital for Zerg. Could get an Overseer Scout with that as well. He's just afraid of a push right now, which makes some sense. Queen count perhaps too low to truly deal with this efficiently. Queen Link should be capable of just cleaning it up though. Don't think that's going to be much of an issue. Here comes a move out. Lots of sentries, of course. 37 workers to 43. Here comes the lair. That's a very good call. I love this call. We have 4 more gateways on the way. Not using it to wall though. Not using these gates to wall is definitely a mistake. Because he's still going to need to wall later on. Immortal's trying to deal some damage, so if we're not really getting it, 10 more drones on the way here for Dark. That means he's now going to be on a very solid worker count to go into a mid game with. He's going to have 58 versus 40. He'll be pulling further and further ahead in the supply as well. Gravitic Drive about to finish up. About 20 seconds away from finishing. It's the speed for War Prisms, of course. Third base here on the way. 5 OVs. 6 gas before anything else, or well, at least 5 gas. Probably gonna take a 6th as well. No Evo Chamber, no fourth base, no nothing. Glio Reconstitution could start. Very interesting. Colossus popping out as well. Actually, that's the one thing I hadn't quite expected. I was thinking maybe a Disruptor drop. Oh wait, there's already 2 Disruptors. I had completely missed that. My apologies. So it's going to be moving out with this as drones are being sent forward for scouts or for sending in a spray or something. I don't know what they're doing here. Perhaps just a miss rally is probably the best conclusion. Spire now on the way. Similar build to last game. Double Purification Nova's hitting in a big way. herO needs to scout this Spire though. Does not scout it quite yet. Here come the Ravagers moving in. Taking out 2 Immortals instantly. There is no blink with this army at all. I hadn't quite realized how big of a push this was coming in. And neither had herO apparently. 10 workers already going down. More links now running in. As the drones just idling in his opponent's natural. And this is looking very poor right now for herO, who will still need to deal with a Mutalisk follow-up without Blink, without a Stargate, without really any anti-air except for this single Stalker. So, yes, this is not the greatest setup you can have against such a follow-up play here that is coming out of Dark. Dark already has a lot of gas in the bank. Purification of us actually hitting. That means that the army supply is pretty okay, but the Spire is now done. And let's take a look at that army supply. Go up here for Dark. Does not have the larva available. That's the thing he's lacking. Nothing else, just larva. To get those Mutalisk out. Link's trying to get in towards the natural. Going to go in and commit hard. Might have been a small mistake. Double Disruptor. Gonna get taken out either by the Queens or the Mutas if he ain't careful. Links are getting some damage done. Not a whole lot though. Mutas being spotted. Charge on the way gets cancelled. Blink starts. This is 6 Mutas versus 4 Stalkers. This is going to be 16 Mutas against 8 Stalkers or 7 Stalkers. Losing any amount of probes right now for herO is pretty much going to be detrimental because he already has so little workers. Stark pops in over here, takes out 7-8 workers, will now continue in towards the main base. At the same time, this third is fairly vulnerable. And that's where these Mutas will go next. Big Stalker Warp, well big. A 3 Stalker Warping comes in clean. Still gotta be good enough though, as I think this is just going to be it for herO in this series. Dark is going to be our first finalist in the KSL SummerSlam, as Mutalisk will get the win after failing in that last game. This time they don't. GG gets called. Dark wins the game, wins the series. And that, my dear friends, is going to be it for me today. I hope you did all enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Tomorrow, second semifinals of the KSL SummerSlam, followed by the finals the day after. I hope you all enjoyed it, and bye-bye.